Welcome everyone, I'm Corey Allen with the Overton Report. This is a live edition because Facebook would not allow me to put up my last video, upload it. So I'm going to go live and listen. It's been a long week. Many of us have not gotten much sleep. I understand that. Many of us are focused on this insanity at the national level, and I understand that. I am too. Very, very much so. We're going to be in the thick of it again this weekend, so keep an eye out for that at the nation's capital. But right now, there's been something that I've been investigating for a while with vetting my sources and trying to figure out, get everything as specific as I can, and there will be a lot more coming up on this because we have some interviews planned. But as of right now, I'm ready to go ahead and let you know a little bit about what's going on in the city of Charleston and the county of Charleston, South Carolina. Now remember, these are very big military cities. It's very important what happens here. Huge trading hubs. It's a big deal. Okay, so listen, Jason Saccharin. Jason Saccharin is a city councilman, and we'll get into some of the things that he's been up to. But listen, his wife, Lindsay Saccharin, is a naval intelligence officer, okay? And listen, Lindsay Saccharin is being investigated and is under review for ethics violations, stonewalling investigations, being a threat to national security. And listen, sources say that Jason Saccharin, Councilman Jason Saccharin, was attempting to use his position in the Charleston Council and various other board member positions throughout the county to try and stonewall the ethics complaints and the investigations into his wife. Now, Jason Saccharin is used to being able to use his clout to do things such as this, so it's not far-fetched. And again, verified sources say it's true. But this time, it seems to not have worked in Jason's favor. This was said to have made the entire situation much worse. Much worse, okay? So, she's said to be in the process of being let go by naval intelligence due to her ethics violations and her husband's attempts at throwing his clout around. Okay? If you remember, a couple months ago, a few months back, when a private citizen spoke out against Jason Saccharin regarding his support of BLM groups, regarding his support of BLM groups that ended up damaging or destroying over 160 businesses on May 30th. Actually, he was specifically praising his niece, who was organizing one of the protests that very night turned into the riots. So a private citizen called him out for that, and he got a little upset, you know, started having people come and tell the citizen that they needed to stop, this and that. Well, the private citizen didn't take that very well. So he released a copy of an ethics complaint, completely separate one that deals with campaign issues, that was made against Jason Saccharin's wife, Naval Intelligence Officer Lindsay Saccharin. So this shows, after that, Jason Saccharin lost his mind. Lost his mind. Actually, when I reported on it, Jason Saccharin began messaging me. But he learned pretty quick that all the things that he was going to say to me were going to be released immediately. So he quickly stopped messaging me with the veiled, I wouldn't say veiled threats, but the implication of such. So this shows that Jason Saccharin is not above using his position to make power plays and intimidate people. So that, you know, So here's the question. Why is a man who is on the Charleston City Council, also being paid over $100,000 in a consultant position in the Charleston County school system, using his power not only to intimidate private citizens, but also using it in an attempt to interfere with federal naval intelligence ethics investigations involving national security issues? We'll have an interview with one of the people that he came after, and we'll discuss the entirely separate ethics complaint that person discovered and released, which caused Saccharin to come down so hard on him previously. And actually cost that individual tens of thousands of dollars to fend off the baseless lawsuits that Saccharin attempted to file. So keep an eye out for those interviews. It's going to be big. Now listen, here's another issue that we're going to be looking into in the coming weeks. The ACLU spent tens of thousands, actually over $100,000, supporting their beloved candidate who has proven repeatedly that she'll toe their line without question. Sheriff-elect Nikki Graziano won the office by about 7,000 votes in an election year where leftists are being accused by very credible sources of vote tampering, glitches in voting computer systems here in South Carolina as well. And this sheriff-elect Graziano is directly in line with the ACLU and was backed and endorsed by leftist and Marxist BLM groups throughout the entire state, the county, and the nation, because ACLU is a national organization. She actually held event after event with BLM supporters and members. Okay, members of BLM and affiliated charities who actually run charities that are not registered with the South Carolina Charities Division. Now listen, when in the state of South Carolina, when a nonprofit is not registered with the South Carolina Charities Division, they cannot solicit donations. All of these groups do solicit donations. Therefore, they illegally solicit donations, according to South Carolina state law. But the sheriff-elect seemingly was not worried about the law when it came to who could put her in office, was she? And remember, she is the darling of the ACLU. And here's one of my biggest issues with the ACLU. The ACLU is intent and vested deeply in abolishing the sex offender registry. Now look, I'm going to say that again. The ACLU is highly vested in abolishing the sex offender registry list. And the argument that they use to meet this end is disgusting to me. They claim they want to abolish the sex offender registry because it disproportionately affects gay and lesbian communities. How dare you? The sex offender registry disproportionately affects rapists, and it disproportionately affects pedophiles. But to sit here and make the claim that it disproportionately affects gay and lesbian communities and therefore it should be abolished, you don't have the right to know if you're living next door to a pedophile? What are you trying to say? I cannot in good faith accept that argument. It's extremely offensive. Full disclosure. Nikki Graziano and I, well, I'm not a big fan of her, and she has come to not be a big fan of me. And I kind of want to just give you an idea of why that is, how it started. A few months back, while she was running as a candidate for sheriff, there was a self-proclaimed pastor who did a Facebook Live video calling on his followers to harass and accost me by name, among others, and my wife in grocery stores and churches, to scream at us, to tell other people lies about us loudly, harass us. And Nikki Graziano, at that time a candidate for sheriff of Charleston County, thought it was the most hilarious thing she had ever heard in her life. She commented also that she wanted people to send her, she wanted to speak with them to get intel and information on us. And it was very disturbing to see a candidate for sheriff acting in such a way. Very disturbing indeed. She refused to answer questions regarding that event and regarding those remarks. And it's kind of snowballed from there. So the question is, why is this sheriff-elect looking for intel based on... Why didn't it bother this sheriff, this, at the time, candidate for sheriff and now sheriff-elect, that somebody was calling on their followers to harass people by name and scream at them in the streets? Why was that okay? And not only okay, why was it funny to this person? It's disturbing. Is that the kind of county she wants us to live in? Hold people accountable for their thoughts, lie about them. So there's your full disclosure on that. But we will be investigating the rest of it, I assure you. Now, keep an eye out for interviews regarding that, but also keep an eye out for the interview of the first private individual that Jason Saccharin had come after. We'll be doing that shortly. And we are working with primary sources in the know regarding the naval intelligence national security risks that Councilman Saccharin and his wife are thought to have posed. The stonewalling of extremely important investigations, the nepotism, corruption, cronyism that has plagued the entire Low Country and the state of South Carolina, and I'm sure wherever you're watching this from, your towns and states as well. It's nearing its end if we have anything to say about it. That time is almost up. We won't stand for corruption of any kind. Not here, not there. It's not going to happen. Okay? And we will not take the word of authority figures who have made clear that they are deeply vested in keeping the status quo as the status quo, regardless of the damage it does to their cities, their counties, their states, and their nation. Okay? Now, one last thing, and I held it towards the end because it's just a little thing about national issues, and Facebook ain't a big fan of me talking about those types of issues. Joe Biden's head corona advisor, Dr. Michael Osterholm, said that they plan to shut the economy down for 4 to 6 weeks in order to save the economy. Now that's interesting. It's kind of like shutting off a patient's oxygen in order to increase their oxygen supply. So, if the fraud is allowed to stand, you can look forward to more amazingly irrational plans such as that and national mask mandates being enforced. So, mask up, and I don't want to hear a single word of complaint. Not one. Because if that's your guy, that's your life. Enjoy it. That's not my guy. Now listen, if you have any corruption tips, please send them my way. Please send them to us, okay? Sometimes it does take us a while to look into them, to go through them and investigate them, but we have a voluntary team that is entirely dedicated to getting the truth out, figuring it out, separating the wheat from the chaff, and we're not going to stop until fraud is investigated, corruption is uncovered, and something is done about it, okay? We have a couple of interviews, like I said, planned. They're coming up. We also have a couple of trips planned. We're going to be right in the thick of it again. I'm going to put my GoFundMe at the top. The support that you guys give me just by sharing these videos, it means everything to me. Because when you share the videos, I get the likes and the follows, and that is how we will be able to fund what we are doing in the near future, okay? Check me out on Parler, at the Overton Report. Check me out on Twitter, Overton_the. Check me out on YouTube, Overton Report. You can search Overton Report and my channel will pop up. We're in the process of uploading all of our videos from the past on there now. It's a process. And keep an eye out for our live videos that are coming up in our interviews. It's a lot of really cool and very big stuff that we are working on. So thank you guys all so much for your support, and I look forward to keeping it going. And again, my name is Corey Allen, and this has been the Overton Report.